Are you struggling to conceive? You have options, and at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group, we'll make sure you have the guidance and support you need. PREG is known for individualized fertility care that's unique to every patient. We take the time to provide a reassuring and empowering experience because we believe that you deserve nothing less. Let us help you on your journey to parenthood. Visit us at pregonline.com to learn more. Get the guidance and support you need at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group.
Did you miss your deadline to renew your Medicaid coverage? You can still send your completed annual review form to Healthy Connections Medicaid. You may be assigned to another health plan, but you can ask to come back to First Choice within 60 days of renewed Medicaid eligibility. It's your family. It's your choice. First Choice is the right choice. Renew and choose us. Visit selecthealthofsc.com/renew to learn more.
It's the pop culture field, and you will. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Pop Culture Field Manual Podcast, sitting right at the intersection of weapons, acts, military, and pop culture.
Nice. My name is Garrett Fath. Welcome, and I'm here with, as always,
hello, Israel Wright. Good to see you.
Hello. Yes.
It's good to be back. It's good to be back, team. We hope you've had a good week. We're here with you.
Chugging one day along.
Chugging one day along. Chugging along with one day, one long day. We're chugging drinks out of
more
things
caffeine.
for the day. Yeah.
More caffeine, please.
More caffeine. Yeah, that's what. We're here to talk about the Civil War.
Yeah, the Civil War.
I couldn't think of anything to banter about.
Let's take a step.
Okay,
back.
let's do it.
Civil War is a very important piece of American history.
That's right.
Okay.
The American Civil War, because I was thinking about this. I'm like, there probably have been a lot of civil wars in countries throughout the history. We're talking about the only significant Civil War. No, it's the American Civil War we're talking about, team.
North versus the South, the Union versus the Confederacy.
That's right.
Brother versus brother, mano y mano.
Mano y mano.
Let's just put it out there. It was a nasty affair.
It was nasty.
It was bad, right?
Yeah. Not a lot of good field medicine, not a lot of good hygiene.
No,
dirty battles.
A lot of
war.
A lot of casualties. A lot of atrocities. A lot of American history being destroyed and whatnot.
Some amazing stories coming out of that.
Oh, absolutely.
And obviously the fact that the North winning that kept the Union together. And it went a long way to freeing the slaves and getting that equality that we marched towards. So
Yeah, it was big, and Hollywood has definitely gotten their fill of amazing Civil War movies. Out there.
Absolutely, we kind of had a big spate of movies like all in a row, like within a few years. I feel like we got like Civil War fever, by kind of the 80s, early 90s or something like that. So with some of the ones that we'll talk about.
Yeah, I know. Well, man, without further ado, let's jump right into
rock and roll. So some fun facts about the Civil War. It started April 12th, 1861 at the attack on Fort Sumter. It ended May 9th, 1865. Though Robert E. Lee surrendered on April 9th, 1865, and the final surrender of the Shenandoah didn't happen until November 6th, 1865. For obvious reasons, more Americans died in the Civil War than any other conflict because it was all Americans fighting. But there were more combined casualties than any other war that America's fought in, estimated between 620 to 750,000 killed. That's a lot of people.
More casualties Combined than all the other wars.
Combined,
yes.
Yeah, than all the other wars combined. Yeah, that's crazy. So all the other
making sure that was clear.
No, because I don't think it was, because I didn't read the sentence right. But
all the wars that America's fought in combined.
Yeah,
it's more. It's like World War II, Vietnam, Korea, everything together. The GWAT. Yeah, American Revolution, more American death. That's nuts.
And it's crazy when you think about that. 2 out of 3 of those deaths were from disease rather than battle, like infections and stuff like that, illness. Crazy. I'm gonna put Cold Mountain in here. So
yeah,
I know we got a lot of good ones, but
did you already say that 2 out of 3 of those were from disease?
Yeah.
You just said that, right?
Yeah, just
okay. Just making sure because I completely like spaced out. And I was like, "Did you say that?"
Totally checked out. That's all right. That's fine.
Yeah.
You know.
No, but I mean, there was no real. I mean, thinking about medicine, what anesthetics was there? There was none of that. There was nothing.
I just have a lot of images of Dances with Wolves in the beginning when that dude he's injured and he sees next door in the tent next to him that they're just sawing the dude's leg off
and he's awake or he's not.
There's no anesthetic.
The pain.
Yeah, anesthetic. Yeah, all
that's
that kind
nuts.
of stuff.
That's nuts. And I mean, we got the chance to shoot a couple of those flintlock muskets and pistols and everything. And the projectile that comes out of that,
dude.
You didn't think I didn't think it'd be that significant because we did ballistic gel tests on it and everything, and it was like a 32-ounce steel core ball.
Yep.
And it went all the way through like 12 inches, 16 inches of ballistic gel.
That thing's moving.
Yeah, it was meant to penetrate steel armor like on dudes on horseback, and it would like go through both plates.
Yep.
So yeah, that shit would get lodged, hit a bone, and you were digging that thing out. It was, it would not be fun to get shot by one of those long muskets.
And even if they were able to kind of pull it out and stuff like that, maybe you'd get infected or something.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing. It's like keeping bacteria out, especially when you're sitting on a table that like 20 other dudes were on previously, and it's been like washed off, but not like truly clean.
Yeah, just a little bit of water, a little bit of rainwater.
Yeah, it's like, here, he's bleeding to death. Let's use these recycled rags that have been sitting in a pail of water.
That's for the last guy whose leg we cut off.
Yeah, that little Johnny over there has been washing his balls in. Let's use those rags.
The popular Civil War pastime of washing your testicles.
Yeah, no, it's yeah. I mean, it's just the medicine back there. That is exactly the reason why there were so many deaths.
Yeah, I mean, not just like not dudes getting their heads blown off or anything, but actually just sickness
like
and
getting
disease.
a scratch.
Yeah,
you get like a scratch. You actually cut your pinky on your bayonet and then
done.
And then infection spreads. Boom, you're dead. That's literally it.
Yep,
that's nuts. Yeah, the Civil War, crazy times, man.
Well, let's talk about the first one that I already referenced, Dances with Wolves.
Yeah.
1990, Kevin Costner. He actually directed it as well as starred in it. I think it won Best Picture that year.
Yeah, it did. It won
super long movie.
Super long.
But it kind of
super sad dog death scene.
Oh, the dog. Yeah, that's right. The I'm not crying, you're crying episode.
Yeah, that episode. We had Dances with Wolves in there. Yeah, that was
Two socks.
Yeah, 2 socks.
Puppy.
All they wanted to do was be with him.
I know. He's
Yeah,
a loyal wolf friend.
Yeah, but that movie's great. I like how he kind of bridges the gap between the Native Americans because I mean back then that was a conflict in itself. The American
that's a whole period of history. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that spans hundreds of years actually, from the time we first landed, in Plymouth Rock, all the way up until the reservation system and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. It starts in Civil War. Dances with Wolves does. He's at Civil War. He's injured, and he sees like the dude getting his leg cut off, and he just can't stomach that fact. So he decides that he's going to kill himself out on the field. He's just going to get intentionally shot. So he gets on the commander's horse and he rides out in the middle of the battlefield, and so the Confederates can see him, and he just puts his hands up and he just rides, and they're all shooting at him like left and right, and there's nobody hits him, and then he goes to one side, and they're all like, "Come on back, boy! Why don't you come on back? Try that again." And then he rides back the other way, and they're shooting at him. What they don't realize, the Northern troops have geared up, and then the Northern troops rush and attack, and they take the base because the Southern dudes were distracted. So that's kind of how the movie starts.
Because it takes you freaking 2 minutes to reload.
Yeah, like getting the ball, pouring the thing, snapping the out, pouring down in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a great opening. Right in the Civil War, and then you're right. He goes out west. He wants to just wants to get away from it all.
Yeah.
He wants to be alone. So he gets the furthest west post that he can find, and it's all abandoned.
Yeah. Finds a nice Native American girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, she's white. She's the one that was captured when she was a kid, and she grew up with the Native Americans.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. But it's a pretty wild movie.
How bad would the isn't there like a toilet paper scene in there? It's like
you got the paper? Yeah, and one dude's like looking at his journal where it's like the story of his life with the Native Americans. Yeah. You got some paper, man? We'll give us some. And he's like, "Can you read?" He's like, "Well, no, you can't either." And so he just takes a page out of it where this deep philosophical. He just wipes his butt with it. Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's so funny. It's like.
Yep.
You read? Well, no.
Illiterate Confederate, or Civil War soldiers.
No.
And what makes me uncomfortable about that scene? He only gives him one page, man. Like, that's it. That's all you need.
That's all you need. Yeah,
also, it's paper. It's not like toilet paper.
It's not toilet paper.
It's not absorbent.
This is old Civil War era paper.
It's not absorbent.
I tell you what,
hell, that shit's probably just spreading
American
it around. It's
buttholes
not
used to be a
cleaning
lot
it up.
tougher back then.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
They were made out of tougher stuff.
Made out of tougher stuff.
Their
Those
buttholes.
men were gritty back then.
Grit. You get the grit.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of a movie. It's not really about the American Civil War, but they like talk about it. True Grit. You like
True
that
Grit?
movie?
Yeah. Oh, I've actually not seen the original one with John Wayne, but I have seen
Kurt Russell and Matt Damon.
Well, Matt Damon and Jeff Bridges, not Kurt Russell.
Jeff Bridges? I always think it's Kurt Russell for some reason.
And what's her name? She's
Jeff
all grown
Bridges.
up now.
Haley Steinfeld.
Haley Steinfeld.
Who was
Yeah,
in
that
the
was like
Hawkeye show.
Yeah, she's in the Hawkeye show. That was her first like acting, big time acting thing.
That was a great movie. I love
She's
that.
great. She does a really good job in that, actually.
She does a really good job. She plays like such an old, mature.
She's like very like
I'm
stalwart.
14 years old.
You know.
Or I'll give you 2 horses if you cover stable fees too.
It's like, what's his name? Marshall Cogburn. And he's like, I may
Rooster Cogburn. Yeah.
Rooster Cogburn. I would like to. I just watched a movie 2 weeks ago. It's so good. And he's like, I may not have shot him. I don't know. I don't recall.
that was when Jeff Bridges kind of dipped into his like grizzled beard phase. Like he's got the every role he took after that, he had a beard and a grizzled voice. Like.
I mean, that's just him.
That's just him now. He's just Jeff Bridges. Yeah.
That's not really a Civil War movie.
No, not really Civil War. Did he fight in the Civil War?
Yeah, they fought. Matt Damon's character and Jeff Bridges' character both fought in the Civil War, and that kind of like pins them against each other, and they're like because they fought on opposite sides. One fought for the Union, one fought for the Confederacy. But anyways,
there's a couple of series or movies and stuff where the main character, their backstory is that they fought in the Civil War.
Yeah. And it's weird because, like, even if they fought against, they end up hating each other afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, I fucking know your company, bunch of rascals and bandits. He's like, no, you. I'm Matt Damon. Yeah.
I'm gonna go star in Stillwater.
Texas
Rangers. Yeah, good movie. Dances with Wolves, classic. Deals with the Civil War a little bit, but more kind of, and starts with it, and then he kind of moves out west, literally.
Yeah. I know, it's good. But hey, moving down the list here. Glory.
Dude. You can't talk about the Civil War in
that
America
is such an
Glory.
inspiring movie.
Dude, it's so it's a tearjerker. Every
yeah.
time you watch it, it's a tearjerker, man.
I know. So
I actually, side note, there were a couple of heavy scenes that I did in the last acting class I ever took. And the music from that, like at the very end, after it's all said and done, the that stuff, I would use that for my emotional prep. So I'd listen to it right before I went on stage, so I get all filled up with emotion.
Nice.
But Glory, man, yeah. Matthew Broderick, Morgan Freeman, Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington actually won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor, I think, for that one. And then he won Best Actor for Training Day later on. Yeah. But yeah, and then he was a young dude then.
Yeah, I mean they all were, except for Morgan Freeman because he didn't have all his freckles at the time.
Yeah, Morgan Freeman's just always been.
Actually,
he's always been 70 years.
Every
old.
one of Morgan Freeman's freckles is a goddamn Confederate soldier he killed in Glory.
Every time he kills a Confederate soldier, he
gets another freckle.
But it's about the first all black
African American regiment.
Yeah, the 54th Massachusetts
Volunteer Infantry, and they volunteered because it would earn them their freedom.
Well, I actually don't think it. No, it doesn't start out that way. But I mean, in the North, I think
they're Union soldiers, so they're free anyways, right?
See, because here's the thing: it starts with the Antietam battle, and I think after Antietam, Abraham Lincoln emancipates. He does the Emancipation Proclamation, and then they decide to make this regiment. I think that's the order of events. So yeah, they are because in the North.
Antietam was the bloodiest battle in the Civil War.
One of the bloodiest, I think.
Yeah.
I'm
not a historian. I wouldn't know.
I'm not a historizer. Historiarizer.
You guys
if you
know,
scroll down the outline, maybe there's something about it.
Biggest battles: Antietam. The Union Army had around 87,000 soldiers. Well, the Confederates only had 38,000. Around 3,500 soldiers were killed, 17,000 wounded. Wow. 2 Union soldiers had found a copy of Lee's battle plans before the battle. However, General McClellan moved slowly on the news and never really took advantage of the knowledge. Oh my gosh, come on, man. And then Lincoln used this battle to announce the Emancipation Proclamation. There you go. That's one of the big battles from the Civil War period. So yeah, actually in Glory, the beginning of the movie starts off with Matthew Broderick at the Battle of Antietam. I always remember because like the first time I watched it, because the dude's like trying to get people. He's like, "For God's sakes, man, come on!" And he turns around and he gets his head blown off. I was like, "Whoa, that's hardcore."
That's hardcore.
Yeah, Cannonball.
Yeah, Cannonball. Yeah, Cannonball just blows right through his skull.
Jesus
But
Christ.
interesting, Antietam is thought of as the bloodiest, but Gettysburg was like the worst.
Yeah, and Gettysburg, which we'll talk about later, but it's a very pivotal one. But we can talk about that here in a little bit. But yeah, Glory, great one, man. And then the last, I love all the things that they do, like when they're battling for like just to get them like some boots,
Yeah.
like some regular boots, and Matthew Broderick
resupply.
storms in to the supply guy, the supply sergeant, and like roughs him up. He's like, I need 100 pairs of boots and 100 pairs of socks. And he's like, "You will get it for me right now." And the guy's like, "Oh, yes, sir." And then like, getting him better pay. And then eventually, my favorite moment is halfway through the movie. They meet up with some white soldiers, and the white soldiers like, "You guys don't even know what's going on. You're nothing, you don't know war or anything like that." And they get into like a scuffle between the Union soldiers and like, Morgan Freeman or like Denzel Washington. Just like, "You guys send the 54th up there, you won't have any problems anymore." And the guys, "Get out of here,
Get out of here.
And then after they've kind of been battle hardened, and they volunteered to take this one fort at the end of the movie that like nobody's been able to take. So like, well, we need one regiment to go in and charge and like start the assault, but you're probably going to take a lot of casualties. And they're marching out there, they're getting ready to go, and all the other guys are lined up. And the other guy that Denzel Washington fought with is up there. He's like, "Give him hell, 54," and they all cheer him on and stuff like that. So it's like a great kind of change of heart that guy has. It was really cool. It's one of my favorite parts of the movies.
That's good, man. I got to rewatch it. It's been a while,
Dude.
But
So
it's such a
heartwarming.
It's so heartwarming. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Second Ranger Company in Korea, all African American Ranger Company.
Oh,
I've
that's
said
right.
it.
We were
I've
talking
said
about the
it
Korean War,
multiple
man.
times.
All right,
They
listen,
need to
Michael
make-
Bay, get on
Michael
this,
Bay.
man.
Please.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna send him. I'm a DM him on Instagram.
We DM. I'm sending him a text.
Send him a text because we're on texting terms.
I'm sure he's got nothing else going on.
Yeah, no, he's not working on anything.
They are making that Devotion movie based on that book I like. Adam Mako's Devotion, first African-American naval carrier pilot Jesse Brown,
Yeah.
Tom Hudner. They're making that movie right now. The production company I'm familiar with, Black Label Media. So hopefully that'll come out soon.
Okay.
So,
Well, moving down our list here, man, you got Gettysburg.
yep.
Tell me about Gettysburg because I've never seen it.
Gettysburg. Oh, Gettysburg was amazing. It's a very pivotal turning point in the war, right? One of the biggest events of the American Civil War, the Battle of Gettysburg. The massive 3-day conflict begins as the Confederate General Robert E. Lee, played by Martin Sheen, presses his troops into northern Pennsylvania, leading to confrontations with Union forces, including the regiment of Colonel Joshua Chamberlain, played by Jeff Daniels. I remember that. As the battle rages on, more casualties mount. The film follows both the front lines and the strategic maneuvering behind the scenes. This was kind of like a turning point. I think this was like one of those when it started really turning in favor of the Union Army. I think this kind of maybe broke the spirits of the Confederates a little bit. It was July 1st through the 3rd, 1863, took place in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. You can still go there to this day. They got all sorts of monuments and stuff. The Union took 23,000 casualties, 3,100 about dead, and then the Confederate casualties were estimated about 25,000. On the third day of fighting, Lee ordered 12,500 troops, led by George Pickett, to attack the Union center on Cemetery Ridge, requiring them to walk almost a mile across an open field. I remember that part of the movie. And they're just getting mowed down because they're just walking across an open field,
No, back then they didn't have any guerrilla war tactics. It was still...
Yeah, it was almost like Marcus of Queensberry rules, like very honorable. Like we're going to the full frontal was still like a thing that you did. As a result, the Union Army was able to hit Pickett's men from all sides, with the infantry opening up fire from behind. As the regiments hit the Confederate Army's flanks, almost 60% of the soldiers involved in Pickett's charge were lost, with the survivors retreating to the defensive line as Lee and Longstreet scrambled to reassemble their men after this failed attack. Yeah.
Jeez, man.
And I remember this was Yeah, big deal. That's one thing I remember. You guys can clarify, but I think it was like a turning point in the Civil War where like the Union Army really started to make gains and stuff. Because I mean, General Lee was a smart dude. Like he was a great tactician.
Well, the Confederate generals were.
I remember them being
all the above and beyond.
They were kind of the cream of the
tacticians.
crop. Yeah. I just remember reading a lot about Union generals that like. This guy had an alcohol problem. This guy was incompetent. This guy was like, oh, come on, Union.
Yeah, no,
they did have some good generals on the South.
Yeah, the Confederates honestly, they had tactical advantage as far as strategic advantage because all their tacticians and generals severely outperformed the Union.
I feel like that would be the case because they are the ones that had to hold the territory, and the Union's the one that had to kind of try to push into
exactly
the territory.
They're already at a disadvantage.
Otherwise, the South's like, we're out of here. Psh,
yeah. So when did the Gettysburg? I have to go back to
Gettysburg Address.
Yeah, did that happen after Gettysburg?
It happened afterward because I think that he kind of used it as a like a rallying cry, or Gettysburg Address, the speech the U.S. President Abraham Lincoln delivered during the first American Civil War at the dedication of the Soldiers' National Cemetery in Gettysburg. Yeah, okay. Afternoon of November 19th, 1863, 4.5 months after the Union armies defeated those of the Confederacy. Yeah.
Okay, so
at the Battle of Gettysburg. Yeah.
So it was 4 months after Gettysburg.
Yeah, 4 months after Gettysburg. And so it's one of it's like that classic. I can read you a little bit of it if you want to.
Sure, read it off, man.
Oh, this is where we get 407 years ago.
What's the score? What's the score again?
20 years.
20 years.
So he's saying 87 years ago, which is
4 score.
Because it was in 1864, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
87 years.
1776.
76, yeah.
There we go. Yeah, close enough.
Our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether the nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who gave their lives to that nation that we might live. Oh, so that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But, in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it, far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note, nor long remember what we say here. You were wrong about that, Abraham Lincoln. But it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. That's a famous line. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that the government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from this earth.
Wise words there, Abraham.
A lot of famous lines, actually. You hear these lines out of context and you wonder where they came from, but the Gettysburg Address actually is one of those famous ones, yeah.
And Abraham Lincoln also was one hell of a vampire hunter.
I've heard this. Yes, great segue, yeah. We can't talk about the Civil War era without talking about Abraham Lincoln, vampire hunter. Have you seen this?
He has like some crazy axes.
Yeah,
right?
He has an axe, and then it's like an axe that has a shotgun in the in the shaft and stuff like that.
Way to we just took like a hard turn. It was like super serious and patriotic, and then it just went to vampire hunting. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
That movie's fucking ridiculous.
Dude, yeah, the book is awesome.
There's a book.
Yeah, it was based on a book. It was
true story.
We kind of had this. Yeah, Jay based on a true story. No, we kind of had this a smattering of like fictionalized or like reimagined books. Like we have, what is it? Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, Sense and Sensibility and Sea Monsters, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. And I've read 2 out of those 3.
Oh, they all by the same person?
No, there's a couple different people. I think Graham Seth Green, was the one who did the Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. But he might have done the Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. But Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, both the book and the movie, I thought were pretty awesome. But Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, I just like the book a little bit better because it goes in, obviously it's longer, it goes a little bit more in depth, and they don't have to. They do some things in the movie that like I don't know what you like. Don't they have like a fight on top of like a stampede? Like they're jumping from like cow to cow, and like there's a giant like stampede. Anyway,
I don't even know.
I think Anthony Mackie's in this one actually. He plays his friend,
and he's a young Abraham, right? In it.
Well, it does both. It's young Abraham Lincoln, and then he when he's older as well.
Okay. It's been a while.
Yeah.
I feel like I say that every time I like have seen parts of a movie.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Cameron, I feel like you haven't watched a movie in 10 years.
No. I just watched True Grit.
You're right. You watch movies you've done a good job.
I watch at my own pace
in a lot of these episodes to like do more research than I ever have, Yeah. But let's see, Anthony Mackie. Yeah, Dominic Cooper's in it. He plays like his vampire buddy. Like, and it's cool in the movie. He kind of has like the same fate Abraham Lincoln does. Like at the end, you see him driving off in his cart, and his friends talking about how he eventually did die in the theater, kind of thing. But in the book, Dominic Cooper's character turns him into a vampire so he can continue to fight evil forever, endlessly. Which I thought was like pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, talking about more of a serious movie now. Have you seen, I watched this one like, I want to say a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, because I was thinking like, what Civil War movies have I seen? And then Matthew McConaughey pops in my head, and the Free State of Jones.
I never saw that,
Did you
man.
see that one?
No.
I
wanted to. I think it passed me by.
Really deep, because it starts off
based on a true story, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. You know what I'm talking about, Chris?
Free State of Jones, 2016 film.
Free State of Jones?
I know of the movie, but I have not seen it.
Yeah, so it's like Matthew McConaughey starts out as like a Confederate medic or something, or a soldier, and he's like fighting in this big battle, and it's crazy, and they're like going through it, and then slowly but surely Matthew McConaughey's character like starts...
Did you miss your deadline to renew your Medicaid coverage? You can still send your completed annual review form to Healthy Connections Medicaid. You may be assigned to another health plan, but you can ask to come back to First Choice within 60 days of renewed Medicaid eligibility. It's your family. It's your choice. First Choice is the right choice. Renew and choose us. Visit selecthealthofsc.com/renew to learn more.
He's like, wow, this place fucking sucks. He's just like, because the other Confederate soldiers are like going into town and like taking quote unquote taxes from like the farmers that live there. And like, they're basically stealing from them. And like, he's just like, yo, this isn't right. And he like ends up going on this, leaving the Confederate army, like deserting and leaving the Confederate army to go basically help like these farmers, and ends up creating this, I want to make sure I'm saying this right, but he gets with the like ex-Confederate runaway slaves and the farmers of Jones County and starts a revolt against the Confederacy, and basically starts his own like free state against the Confederacy, because he's
like a Southern guy, but who started kind of revolt against the Confederacy.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Basically, because they were like the Confederacy was stealing and mistreating the people around them, because they were all like, you need to support the army, so we're taking like 75% of all your crops, and it's like, well, how am I going to feed my family? So he like sees that, and he's like, no, that's not right. So he bands together with all these people, and he starts his own like free nation within the Confederacy. It's pretty good, man. It's I like it.
That's cool, man. I that sounds like one that I would enjoy. I should probably pick up sometime. You know?
Wait, let's see here. The film ends with Newton's great grandson Davis Knight being arrested under Mississippi's anti-miscegenation laws in 1948, since he has 8th black ancestry. Oh, because Matthew McConaughey's character falls in love with an African Americans, and the law consider him to be black, and therefore cannot legally marry his longtime white sweetheart. He is sentenced to 5 years in prison, but his conviction is thrown out by Mississippi Supreme Court in 1949, rather than risk the law being declared unconstitutional in light of emerging civil rights movement. I forgot, the movie starts out with like them in court, and he turns out to have like an 8th African American in him, because Matthew McConaughey's, which is like his great great grandfather, like married or had a baby with a African American, so like he couldn't own the land because he was black, and there was all racist laws and everything. It was fucking crazy.
Wow, crazy.
But Yeah,
Matthew McConaughey's good at finding some of those out of the way stories, like Texas Buyers Club and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, Dallas Buyers Club.
Dallas Buyers Club, yeah.
Yeah, man. But that one popped in my head because I watched that last year and I was like, damn, that's fucking crazy, man. But
what about Cold Mountain?
Cold Mountain.
You heard of Cold Mountain? You've seen Cold Mountain?
I've never seen it.
Oh man, that's a good one. Cold Mountain is.
Tell me about it.
Well, it stars Jude Law and I'm
looking at the
Nicole
poster.
Kidman.
Nicole Kidman. There you go. And it actually takes place in the South, and they live in this small Southern town, and him and Nicole Kidman kind of know each other, and it's like they just start their romance, and then like the Civil War starts, and he gets like conscripted or called away,
like drafted,
yeah, and he's fighting in the Civil War, and it's like I think it was like a true event, but like in the beginning of the movie, they're trying to take this. Maybe this Union fort, and they like dig underneath and they plant all these bombs, right, to kind of blow the wall out, but it ends up just like blowing the floor out from everybody. So they're like in this pit, like fighting with each other. It's like this brutal, like hand-to-hand combat. And it's just like this crazy battle. And he's there in the South and recovering afterwards. And he wants to go home. You know, he doesn't believe in the war anymore. He doesn't want to be there. So he actually deserts. And it's like his journey of getting back to Nicole Kidman, and Renee Zellweger's in it, and a couple other characters. He kind of meets some people along the way. It's like almost like an anthology kind of thing. Like he meets Natalie Portman, who's like she's alone with her baby, and then like some Union soldiers show up, and they try to rape her, and he helps her out, you know. And then he meets up with like Philip Seymour Hoffman, who's like this skeezy reverend dude who's like he's like a drunk and a womanizer.
Yeah.
And they meet up with this other dude who kind of invites him into their home, and he has all these daughters. They're all like getting all over him, you know, and Jude Law doesn't want any part of it. Yeah, but the skeezy reverend gets all over the daughters, and then it finds out it's just like a honey trap. It's like they're looking for deserters, so the Confederate soldiers come in, they take them, and they're gonna like take them back in chains, and then they get attacked, and then all the people die, but Jude Law's still chained to them, but they're all dead, so he's just like there, like hanging out. So it's kind of like it's like a journey home, like he's trying to get back to her, you know, and he thinks about her and dreams about her and stuff, and she's still in love with him, and there's stuff going on with like people back at the town. I think what's his name? Jack White's there. He's like an ex-Confederate dude, and he sings some songs and stuff, and it's pretty awesome. But yeah, anyway, it's just a wild kind of a journey, like a grand kind of Forrest Gump type journey of him epically like trying to get back
home. Does he get back home?
He does. He does get back home, but he dies. Well, he gets back home, and they have like one night together, and then like some. Who's the Joker? Who plays the Joker in the latest guy?
Heath Ledger?
No, not Heath Ledger.
Joaquin Phoenix?
No, not Joaquin Phoenix.
Jared Leto?
Jared Leto's in it. And and him and his gang like come for trouble, and he has like a showdown with Jude Law where they shoot each other. And he kills Jude Law's, or he kills Jared Leto's character, Morbius. But Jude Law gets shot too, and then he ends up dying. But Nicole Kidman has his kid, and so his memory lives on. It's kind of a bittersweet kind of ending and stuff. But Cold Mountain, it's based on a book series. Remember the singing? They do a lot of like church, like kind of chamber music singing. It's like if you love like bluegrass and like southern like country music, it's just like full of that, you know. But super cool movie, yeah. Very kind of bittersweet, you know. A great performance. Anthony Minghella, who's done a lot of great things, directed it. And yeah. Cool,
I feel like
movie.
a shitty American right now.
Because you haven't like seen these things?
My Civil War history right now is terrible. I was like, when did the Gettysburg Address happen?
Oh man, don't feel bad, man.
I need to know this history. So, listeners, in order to help me, please recommend some good Civil War.
Link some videos, show us in the comments, some books.
Some books about the Civil War, because obviously a lot of great things happened, and a lot of tragic things happened.
Yeah, crazy.
Which made our country the way it is right now.
Yeah, man, it was one of the pivotal turning points.
Yeah,
in the
this
Union,
was a big thing.
This
was American versus American.
Yeah,
like if this happened nowadays, it would be a slaughter.
Yeah.
But I really want to know more about this, and I feel like, just movies by Hollywood don't do it justice. I feel like I have to go forth and learn.
If you read, there's
this.
a lot of like the Lincoln Douglas debates, because this was like the presidential election leading up to like before the Civil War happened. But if you read all those Lincoln Douglas debates and stuff, they go back and forth about slavery and all this kind of stuff. It's pretty cool to like read. That's like, that was why slavery was a big issue. That was one of the central inciting incidents or whatever for the Civil War.
Exactly.
Because the southern states wanted to do their thing, and that included slavery.
Yeah.
And they're like, no.
No, sure, not me.
Yep.
But send some books, send some recommendations, send some podcasts. I definitely want to learn more about this because I'm a terrible American right now. But,
no, don't feel bad.
Yeah, man.
Do you
have any last minute ones you want to talk
about? No, that's good for me. I'm looking at some of our stuff, but I never want to be a poser and like talk too much about something I haven't seen. But Chris, you got anything to say about like I see the good, the bad, and the ugly here, and then Outlaw Josie Wales?
Yeah, like the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's a great movie, but it was Sergio Leone's kind of commentary on Civil War and war in general.
Okay.
So it's pretty good.
Right.
There's a big battle scene. It's just funny because it's clearly shot in Italy and they're clearly Italians.
John Smith with a thick Italian accent.
It's very obvious that it's not the United States. But then Outlaw Josie Wales, it's one of my favorite films. It's one of the first things Clint Eastwood directed.
Whoa.
It just has a lot of great lines. Like they get in a shootout with these guys and he's just a badass in it and he kills them. And then the guy he's with is like, shouldn't we bury him? And he says, buzzards got to eat, same as the worms. I'm like, yeah!
Clint Eastwood, that's awesome.
That's a great line.
Yeah, but I highly recommend either of those. I mean, Outlaw Josie Wales is less about the Civil War, more about Clint Eastwood's character being kind of badass.
Well, it says they could kill Union soldiers, kill his wife and kid, and then he joins the Confederate Army to get back at them.
Yeah, and then the first 5 minutes is like the Civil War, but it's all kind of this montagey thing.
Yeah,
and then it starts with the end of the Civil War and all of they're like this special group of people, and they
soft unit.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, Western South.
And they surrender.
Barbecue sauce.
And their leader like negotiated the surrender and they have to give up their weapons and Josie Wales says no. He's like, they'll come and kill you. And he's like, that's fine. But all the guys that surrendered, they then just gun them down.
Oh, wow.
And so then he runs in and starts shooting people and like saves one of them.
Okay.
Because the Union people, they betrayed the Confederate people. So it's interesting.
Wow.
It's a
That's
good
cool,
movie.
man. There's two movies I got to see because I have not seen, unfortunately, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, which I know is a classic.
Yeah, that's a classic Western. Is that a spaghetti Western?
Yep.
It is.
Yep.
It's one of the trilogy. It's Fistful of Dollars for a few dollars more, and then The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah, they call it the Man with No Name trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Clint Eastwood's the main character, but
He never has a name.
Out of all those three, the only one I've seen is for a few dollars more.
that's my favorite one.
Oh, really? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
good. Yeah, that's a good one. Good stuff. It's one of those popular storytelling devices where you take an event in history and you use it as like a springboard or like a lead into for the events of the characters or the motivation of the characters. So it's not exactly the center, like with Dances with Wolves. It's like the backdrop or the inciting incident that gets them on their way.
I see.
One more quick thing. Sorry. We didn't talk about video games. There's actually a ton of Civil War video games.
I'm looking at this list and I've not played, it's funny, Civil War when it comes to video games is not really an era that like, I want to play a Civil War based video game.
They're mostly
Press
like
X
strategy.
to reload 2 minutes later.
But I do want to especially point out North versus South. I used to play that on NES, but it's messed up because you can pick the North or the South. I'm like, who's picking the South?
Yeah, who are these people? It was an FBI surveillance tool.
Yeah.
And I
Where are
passed
the
it.
mega racists?
But I'm just like, who's picking the South? And it's like, I just got to see how this turns out.
Yeah.
There was sometimes they do. I can't remember the name of the book, but there was like an alternate fiction book that was written where about like what if the South had won the Civil War, and then it jumps ahead like 60 years or something like that in like the 40s or whatever.
I think
we'd have a woman African American
Dukes of
president
Hazzard.
already.
What?
Dukes of Hazzard, I think, yeah.
Dukes of Hazzard is the alternate history.
Yeah.
Listen, just some good old boys never doing no harm. Beats all you ever saw. Been in trouble with the law since the day we were born. They're right. I'm looking at this list. They got a bunch of they're mostly strategy games. It looks like Civil War, Nation Divided, War of Rights.
Let me tell you, just like I said, press X to reload, and it's like, all right, press so it's
Ramrod,
like, press X to it's like shoot the gun,
ball.
press X to reload. You whip out your ramming rod, press Y to load the ball.
Well, to be fair, Cameron, in Glory, when they're training the soldiers, he says that a good soldier can fire and reload his weapon 3 times in a minute.
In a minute,
Yeah.
That's so fast because we had a little bit of experience. It started getting easier, but I can see how like you get fast because I'm just gonna talk it through in my head just to make sure I remember. It was you take out the ramrod, you put your ball down.
Yeah.
Or no.
You got your ball, you got your pack,
No.
right? Wasn't there
you,
a shooting pack? Like with
didn't you have to put wadding down?
Yeah,
first,
wadding.
Wait.
That was the last thing.
Wadding.
Wait.
No, because wadding is
No,
pushing
it was
the ball.
it was black powder first. So black powder first, then wadding on top, pack that down, take it out, drop the ball in, pack that down, right?
The
Or
ball
was the
goes
wadding-
in last?
That's the thing coming out to shoot people.
I know, but
Have you ever
I
shot
thought
a
the wadding
shotgun?
would go in last because it stuffs it all in the barrel.
No.
Oh, you know what? You
wadding
know what it
like-
is? No, Israel's right. It was black powder first, then you take the ball, put it on top, then you take the wadding, pack it down to hold it in the barrel.
fall out.
And then you
I'm
take
just-
the tray,
Oh.
and then you
I
put
guess
black
that makes
powder
sense.
in
In
the
the tray, too.
Close it,
Yeah.
cock it
then
back,
you have to
put the
put the little
ramrod
primer.
down, and then you shoot it.
But you had to like put the primer in the thing too.
Yeah, on the hammer.
Yeah.
On the hammer. This was a little bit
Well, this
different than
is
the
the
matchlock
flintlock.
that we fired.
With the matchlock was the older, and
That's
the
old,
flintlock
like
was the
1400s,
newer
you know?
one, which
Yeah.
had just the flint on it, and that created the spike. But you still had to put the primer was just it was just freaking gold black powder in a plate that you would close.
It's like a
When
little
the flick-
tray and it had like a
Yeah.
little like opening and
So
closing.
the
thing,
horn they would carry, they would put black powder down the barrel, and then they put black powder on the plate, close it, and then when it sparks, it would go in the hole. It was ridiculous.
It's very efficient.
Yeah.
Super efficient.
Now you know why they stood in lines across
Yeah.
from each other, because they're like, let's just get this over with.
Yeah,
I don't want to have
yep.
to reload.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully we get them all in one volley.
Yeah.
You know. Which, by the way, for those that don't know what we're talking about, keep an eye on our Shift Fire channel on YouTube, and you'll see what we
You'll
mean.
know what we're talking about. Okay.
Or if you've kept an eye on our YouTube channel, this is after it comes out. If you've kept an eye on our YouTube channel, you see what we mean.
Yes.
Shift Fire on YouTube.
Shift fire. All right, let's answer this fan question.
Let's do it.
From Ian Smith via email. What is the role of SEER specialists while they are deployed overseas? Are there special duties or expectations? How do those skills and expectations differ from other servicemen and women who are serving with a SEER specialist? So I'm assuming this is in reference to Air Force SEER guys?
Yeah, well, this is a profession that I did not even know existed. I didn't even know there was a profession called a SEER specialist, because this is something you go through in order to be a SEER instructor, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't even know this was a thing. I thought when he said SEER specialist, I thought, well, people who graduated SEER school that were really good at what they did? Or?
Yeah, no, there's a couple. I think it's in the Air Force.
Air Force. I'm looking at the
Flyboy exclusive
Yeah.
MOS.
Yeah, and it's like a year-long pipeline.
That's interesting.
Because you have to go through, you got basic, you got to go through SEER school. You know?
Is that part of their AFSOF? So is that Air Force Special Operations?
Ooh,
SEER
that's a good
specialist?
that's a good question. I'm not seeing it here on the page, but like, you go through SEER school, and then you have 5 months of training with 17 different training phases over out at Fairchild Air Force Base out in Washington. So out by is that Spokane?
You know, Garen Thumb used to be one of those.
No kidding.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was out there because he's in Washington.
Yep.
And he was a SEER instructor for a while.
Ah, interesting.
But honestly, Ian Smith, good question, man. I actually don't know a lot about this.
Yeah. The question is, what are there special duties or expectations? Are they specialists while they're deployed overseas? So as far as I understand the profession of what we're talking about with the Air Force, it's not something you deploy as. It's something you go and you train other people
I would assume so.
at SEER school, which
Yeah.
is kind of interesting. I don't know if there's...
That's a great question.
Folks,
I'm gonna
for those
find
of you
out.
that
I'm going
know-
to find out, Ian Smith.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
send us an email, leave a comment in the comment section on YouTube or whatever. But yeah, I had to Google this. I'm like, I didn't know that there was such a thing as a SEER specialist.
Yes, me neither. All right. Sorry, Ian Smith. That's the
Sorry,
first
Ian.
question we
Sorry
can't
to burst
answer.
your bubble. Or don't.
Yeah, man. There's
Disappointing.
things in the military we don't know because the military is huge.
It's a huge, it's a long history, but I can say for sure that we've definitely learned a lot about the Civil War history of America.
Or going to learn more. Once these people send me stuff,
Send us all your stuff.
make me a better American, folks.
Send us to our P.O. box.
Yes, literally.
So,
So,
game time?
Game time.
Let's do it, baby.
Game time.
Yay!
Christopher.
Hello.
Chris.
So we're going to do something similar to what we've done before, but this game is called Lifetime Movie or Civil War Movie.
Oh, man. That's
Great.
crazy.
Fantastic.
I'm going to say the name of a movie, and you tell me if it's a Civil War movie, Lifetime movie, or both.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, a Civil War Lifetime movie.
Yeah. You guys will be really good at this one. I can feel it.
I hope so. I wish my dad was here. He loves Lifetime movies.
I thought you were going to say he loves Civil War movies. All right.
You could like Civil War
So
movies.
here's the warm-up. Gods and Generals.
That's definitely Civil War movie.
Civil War.
Yeah, because we were talking about it earlier. That's the one that.
Literally
That's the other.
brought up 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Where was I?
It's the companion movie to. I feel like
I don't know. You're probably
Gettysburg
still looking
and
up that
Gods and Generals
Mustang.
is kind of roughly about similar activities.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just the one that didn't
Yeah,
do as
myself.
well, I guess.
All right. So that was the warm-up. Very good. Civil War movie. Let's
Okay.
go.
Nice.
Wicked Spring.
Wicked Spring. Is that
Wicked
a Boston?
Spring. That sounds like a Lifetime movie.
That sounds like a Lifetime.
I don't know if a movie about the Civil War would have any like seasonal kind of title stuff. Like, why would
be
it?
like
I
this
don't know.
weather? It's a wicked
Yeah,
spring we're
it's
having
wicked
here in
dark.
in mass.
And it hoits.
Yeah, hoits. I'm gonna say Lifetime movie.
Let's say a Lifetime movie.
Civil War movie.
All right.
I'll give you the synopsis because it actually sounds pretty cool. The film focuses on Harrison Bolding, a Confederate soldier in 1864 who, at night and with two other soldiers from his company, becomes lost while in conflict at the Battle of the Wilderness, which was also a huge battle.
Oh,
in the
that's
Civil
a
War.
big one. You should read about that. The Battle of the Wilderness
Never
was
heard
like
of it.
crazy.
The
Wow.
three meet and befriend a trio of Union soldiers that night, but don't realize it until the next morning when the six find themselves trapped between Union and Confederate defenses.
Oh,
That
that actually sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
You ever guys are losing the thread?
Wicked
A Midnight
Spring.
Clear World War II movie? Similar kind of thing of some soldiers being off by themselves, and they meet some German soldiers who are discouraged by the course of the war. They want to surrender, but they want to like give them some honor, so they have like a fake firefight. But one of the other soldiers, American soldiers, doesn't know it's fake, and he starts shooting at the German soldiers, and then they actually like start firing. It's crazy, man.
Oh.
That's only part of the movie, but yeah.
I would hope so. That'd be a very short film.
Next one.
All right, next one. Dead in the Water.
Dead in the Water. That
Dead
is-
in the Water. Dead in the Water. I mean, Lifetime movies, right? Dead in the
Well,
Water.
hold on. Are we? I always
There's
get.
not, how much
I'll
water
be
conflict
honest.
was there in
I
the
get.
Civil War?
I'll be honest. I always get Lifetime and Hallmark movies completely.
You're
They're
right.
they're the same.
They are the
But
same.
Lifetime
I mean, they
tends
might
to
as well be.
They could be more serious. I feel like Hallmark movies are a little more lighthearted and romantic.
Hallmark's usually like a Christmas movie. In fact, I'm pretty sure 90% of their movies are Christmas movies.
They keep churning
But
them out.
Lifetime is just kind of a lower production value kind of movie.
I see.
Okay.
Okay. Dead in the Water.
That sounds like a Lifetime movie.
Civil War.
Lifetime.
It's a Lifetime movie.
Sucker.
I don't know what it's about. I didn't look it up. Ties That Bind.
Ties that bind.
That sounds like a Civil War movie. But
That sounds like a Lifetime movie to me.
wait,
Guys, they're all going to kind of sound like Civil War movies and Lifetime movies. That's why I picked the titles I did.
okay.
Okay.
I'm going to say both.
Both.
No, it's a Lifetime movie.
Yay.
I do know the synopsis of this. A young married couple find their relationship and their lives threatened after a beautiful and dangerous seductress moves into their pool house.
That like you do.
Pool house.
I'm sure. I can see how that would happen.
Yeah, it's common. It's a common theme. Lifetime movies. Oh, here's the distinction, Cameron. Hallmark movies usually like holiday happy movies. Lifetime movies, it's usually like the cheerleader who kills,
I see.
mom with a knife. You know, it's
I
that
see.
kind of thing.
Not without my daughter.
Yeah.
All right, next one. Deliverance Creek.
Deliverance Creek.
Cut the word
Civil
Creek
War
in it.
movie.
I'm going to say Civil War. Greek.
It's both. What?
Oh.
It's both. A widow resorts to desperate measures to protect her 3 children and her land during the Civil War, but it was a Lifetime movie.
Interesting.
Nice.
All right. Field of Lost Shoes.
Field of Lost Shoes.
Sounds like a
That's a Civil War movie.
Are you sure?
I think so.
I'm going to go with you.
It is a Civil War movie. A group
Yes.
of teenage cadets sheltered from war at the Virginia Military Institute must confront the horrors of an adult world when they are called upon to defend the Shenandoah Valley.
The horrors of or
The horrors.
The
The horrors, not the horrors of the real
like there's just
world.
a
Bunch of
platoon
horrors.
Army of
coming at
horrors.
them.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, we don't know how to handle this.
Like, hey, soldier.
Yeah. No,
Run!
actually, I knew it was a Civil War movie because when I was looking up a list, I was like, that's an interesting title.
Oh, okay.
So kind of cheated on that one.
All right. And the last one, The Beguiled.
The Beguiled.
That's definitely Civil War.
The Beguiled.
The Beguiled.
Beguiled.
That's Nicole Kidman. It's got Colin Farrell in it. I never watched it, but I remember seeing seeing trailers for it. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Izzy and say it is a Civil War movie.
Well, obviously he knows what it is because he was naming people in it.
yes, that is
exactly
why I'm going
next
with
time
Israel.
we play a game like this, I want, no matter if you know it or not, say, "Oh, that's this," and then just start listing people that are in it.
No, I'm like,
oh yeah, I know the guy. It was a Lifetime
Arnold
movie.
Schwarzenegger.
It's got it's got Danny DeVito in it.
Yeah. Luis Guzman. Yeah.
But yes, it's a Civil War movie. While imprisoned in a Confederate girls' boarding school, an injured Union soldier cons his way into each of the lonely women's hearts, causing them to turn on each other and eventually on him. It was originally a Clint Eastwood movie.
Play a hater.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow. I didn't. It seemed really twisted, which is why I never watched it because I'm like, oh no, what did they do to him?
Hey, girls just want to have fun. Okay, great job, guys. I think you got.
We got a good amount.
2.
Better than Israel's 1.
Better than my 1. As long as you are up from 1, then you're better than me.
Okay. Well, thanks, folks, for listening to the Civil War episode of the Pop Culture Field Manual podcast. We're super serious about sending us some information. At least I am. I want to learn.
You better.
I need to be a better American here and understand where we came from. But if you guys want to stay tuned for new podcasts from us, every Wednesday we release a new podcast. Yep. And make sure to go to our YouTube page. New videos with extra content, and you can see us and interact with us in the comment section, not obviously while the podcast is going, because we don't have that technology.
We don't do it live.
But every Friday we release a new video on there. Yep. Go ahead and check out Shift Fire, the new YouTube page that Izzy and I have, where we explore and appreciate all things military and firearms. Izzy?
If you want to hang out with me, folks, I stream 3 days a week on Twitch. So go to twitch.tv/myhappyself. Cameron, what about you?
If you want to support my streetwear,
my
if you want to support my streetwear brand, go ahead and head on over to Kit God Apparel. That's KITGOD Apparel on Instagram or on our website, kitgodapparel.com. I feel like we should mention the Buy Me a Coffee thing because it's been such a great help to us.
Oh, yeah, dude. Buy Me a Coffee, folks. You can go find us on Buy Me a Coffee, and we just really appreciate all the support. We've had great support that way. So if you feel like you want to give back a little bit, that's a great way to do it because
it helps the podcast, helps fund all the equipment, and goes
all the
right
stuff
back
that we're using here. And we got to buy some cameras, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Or we will have bought some cameras by the time you're listening to this, hopefully.
Hopefully, if everything goes well. Thanks again for listening. Drive safe. Cue music.